You've tried it all, the discipline, the alarms, the grind, but by day 10, you're back exactly where you started. You're assuming your willpower is the problem, but you're wrong. You aren't failing because you're lazy. You're failing because your nervous system is programmed to protect your old identity. Today, we're using a proven Japanese framework to stop this cycle. You'll learn how to stop fighting yourself and start updating the internal software that controls your behavior. Section 1. The Snapback Trap. Why willpower fails. Let's talk about the snapback effect. Have you ever felt like a rubber band? You stretch yourself toward a new goal, you work hard, and you feel great. Then suddenly you let go. You snap right back into your old comfortable habits. It feels like a betrayal, doesn't it? In the West, we are taught that willpower is a muscle. We believe that if we just push harder, we will win. But is that really true? In Japan, we have a different perspective on this. We often talk about the flow of life rather than forcing it. When you rely only on willpower, you are basically fighting a war against your own brain. Your brain loves safety. It loves what is familiar, even if that familiar thing is destructive. When you force change, your brain sees it as a threat. It works tirelessly to bring you back to your factory settings. This is why your best intentions often vanish after only a few days. So I have to ask you, in your country, do you value hustle more than harmony? Many people who struggle to change have never considered this. They believe exhaustion is a sign of progress. But what if progress is actually found in the way you structure your internal world, rather than how hard you push? That is the question we need to answer. Section 2. The Surgeon's Discovery. The face you don't see. Now, let's go back to the source of this method. Meet Maxwell Maltz? He was a successful plastic surgeon in New York back in the 1960s. He spent his days fixing scars and reshaping noses. He was good at his job, really good. But he noticed something strange in his office. He saw two types of patients leave his clinic. The first type was transformed. After their surgery, they felt like new people. They became bold, warm, and confident. Their external face matched their new internal feelings. But the second type? They were a mystery. They had the same flawless surgery. The physical scar was gone. But when they looked in the mirror, they still flinched. They couldn't see the change. They insisted, "I look the same as before." Maltz realized he was operating on the wrong face. He had fixed the skin, but the inner face remained untouched. He called this the self-image. And this is the most important lesson from his work. You have a picture of yourself stored deep in your mind. This picture acts like a blueprint for your entire life. If your inner picture is that of a person who always fails, it doesn't matter how much plastic surgery you get. It doesn't matter how many diet plans you start. Your nervous system will keep steering you back to match that old faded picture. You cannot outperform your own self-image. This is why you feel stuck. It's not about your beauty, your skill, or your luck. It's about the silent portrait that you are constantly looking at. In the back of your mind. Section 3. Confirmation bias. Your brain's secret agenda. Why does this internal portrait hold so much power? The answer lies in a psychological mechanism called confirmation bias. Your brain is a filtering machine. Every second, it is bombarded with millions of bits of information. To survive, it has to ignore most of it. But it never ignores information that matches your current self-image. Think about it. If you believe you are a shy person, your brain will highlight every moment you feel awkward. It will ignore all the times you were actually outgoing or funny. It treats those positive moments as errors or just plain flukes. This is your brain's secret agenda. It wants to be right more than it wants you to be happy. It is constantly collecting evidence to prove that your old limiting identity is the truth. If you have a belief that you are bad at money, your brain will show you every missed opportunity. It will hide the moments where you were smart with your finances. It's like wearing a pair of tinted glasses that only let in the colors that match your past. You aren't seeing the world as it is. You are seeing a world that confirms your old story. Most people never realize they are wearing these glasses. They think they are observing reality, but they are just observing their own past. To change your life, you have to break this filter. You have to force your brain to acknowledge the new evidence of the person you are becoming. It is not about lying to yourself. It is about waking up to the parts of your life that your brain has been hiding from you. Section 4. Cybernetics, your internal goal-seeking machine. So, how do we actually update this software? This is where the term Psycho-Cybernetics comes in. Cybernetics is the science of systems that steer themselves toward a target. Think of a torpedo heading for a ship. It doesn't travel in a straight, perfect line. It wobbles, it drifts, and it misses the mark. But it constantly senses that error and corrects its course. It is a goal-seeking machine. Your nervous system works exactly the same way. It is designed to navigate toward a destination. But here is the catch: the destination is defined by your self-image. If your image is that of a person who always quits, your nervous system will steer you toward quitting. It will create situations that confirm that identity. You will get tired, you will lose motivation, or you will find excuses. To your brain, this is not failure. It is success, because you have arrived at the target you set for it. You have to understand that you are not a static object. You are a biological machine that is constantly steering. You are always moving toward your dominant inner picture. Most people try to use willpower to drag the ship in the opposite direction, but the steering system is much stronger than your manual effort. You will get tired, and the system will take over again. The secret is not to fight the steering. The secret is to change the target coordinates in your nervous system. You don't need more strength, you need to program a new destination. Section 5, Neuroplasticity, Rewiring Your Inner Identity. Now, you might be thinking, can I really change how my brain is wired? The answer is a clear scientific yes. This is thanks to a concept called neuroplasticity. For a long time, scientists thought the brain was like a piece of hardware that stopped changing once you hit adulthood. But that is completely wrong. Your brain is more like a river. It is constantly carving new paths. Every time you think a thought or practice a feeling, you are strengthening a specific neural pathway. If you keep thinking, I am a failure, you are physically building a failure highway in your brain. It becomes faster, wider, and easier to use every single day. But here is the good news: you can stop building that road. You can start digging a new one. The moment you decide to practice a new identity, your brain starts building new connections. It is literally rewriting its own hardware. And this is the magic part: your brain cannot distinguish between a real experience and an intensely imagined one. If you can create a vivid, detailed picture of yourself succeeding, your nervous system accepts it as a real signal. It begins to treat that new identity as the target coordinate. You aren't just thinking differently. You are physically changing the structure of your brain. You are transforming your inner hardware so that your goal-seeking machine finally has a new map to follow. It takes time, but it is not magic. It is just biology. Section 6. The Theater of the Mind. Your 10-minute script. So how do we start this construction work? We use a practice Maltz called the Theater of the Mind. This is where you become the director of your own internal film. I want you to take 10 minutes every day in a quiet spot. Sit down, close your eyes, and relax your body. Maltz insisted on this relaxation because a tense body is a body that is still guarding the old identity. Once you are calm, you run a movie. But this isn't a fantasy about winning a trophy. That's not what the nervous system needs. I want you to pick one single, real-world task for tomorrow. Maybe it's a difficult conversation or a workout or sitting down to focus. See yourself handling that task with ease. See your posture, hear your steady voice, and feel the calm in your chest. Now, I have to ask, do you think this sounds like daydreaming? Many people in the West dismiss this as unproductive. They believe that unless you are physically sweating, you aren't working. But in Japanese culture, we have long understood that the mind practices the body's actions before they happen. Think of a master archer in Zen training. He practices the shot 1,000 times in his mind before he ever touches the bow. When you visualize, you are giving your nervous system a blueprint to follow. You are showing your brain what success looks like in your specific environment. Do this for 10 minutes every day. Not once, not twice, but for at least 21 days. Your brain is a mirror. If you show it a different scene every day, it will eventually reflect that scene in your real life. Section 7, Omoikomi, Evicting the Squatter in Your Mind. Now, let's talk about a specific Japanese concept that will change how you see your failures. The word is omoikomi. It literally means a thought that has moved in and settled down. Think of it like a squatter living in your house without paying rent. An omoikomi is a belief you accepted years ago, maybe from a teacher, a parent, or a bad experience, and you let it stay there. You never asked it to leave. You never checked if it was actually true. It just sits in the back of your mind, controlling the thermostat of your life. When you try to change, this squatter kicks up a fuss. It says, no, you aren't that kind of person. You're the one who gives up. It makes you feel anxious, uncomfortable, or afraid. But here is the trick to evicting it. You have to look it in the eye. You have to trace it back to its source. Ask yourself, where did this belief come from? Was it one teacher who sighed at your essay? Was it one friend who mocked you? Once you see that the belief is just a tiny, outdated thought from someone else's bad mood, it loses its power. It's like turning on the light in a dark room. You realize the monster was just a pile of old laundry. Don't fight the Omoikomi with force. Fight it with truth. Treat it like a guest who has overstayed their welcome. Politely but firmly, tell it that it doesn't belong here anymore. Your mind belongs to you, not to the old false stories you picked up along the way. Section 8, error correction, failing forward like a torpedo. Remember the torpedo we talked about? The one that hits its target by constantly missing? That is exactly how you need to view your mistakes. Most people treat a slip-up as a final verdict. You miss one day of your habit, and you think, see, I'm back to being the same old me. You let the failure define you. That is the quickest way to kill your progress. Instead, look at that mistake like a data point. The torpedo doesn't cry when it misses. It doesn't stop the engine and go home. It senses the error, adjusts the rudder, and keeps going. When you miss your workout or eat the wrong food, don't replay it in your mind at midnight. That only strengthens the failure highway we talked about. Just observe it. Say, okay, I drifted off course. Then gently nudge yourself back to center. Use the failure as steering data, nothing more. If you stop seeing mistakes as moral flaws and start seeing them as navigation steps, you become unstoppable. The goal isn't to be perfect. The goal is to keep moving forward, even if your path looks a bit zigzaggy. Every expert you admire has thousands of corrected mistakes behind them. They didn't succeed because they were perfect. They succeeded because they knew how to steer through the errors. So next time you trip, don't quit. Just correct the course and keep the machine running. Section 9. The power of self-talk, changing your internal narrative. Now that you are steering your machine correctly, you need to watch your communication. You are constantly talking to yourself even when you are silent. This internal dialogue is the command language for your brain. If you constantly whisper, "This is too hard," or "I'm not the kind of person who succeeds," you are giving your neural network a direct, negative command. You are literally telling your biological machine to stop. Most people are completely unaware of this verbal abuse. They inflict on themselves. They treat their own minds like a subordinate they are allowed to bully. But imagine if you spoke to your daughter or son the way you speak to yourself. You would never be that cruel. Why are you so harsh with the most important person in your life? You need to start using positive commands as if you are giving instructions to an elite athlete. Instead of saying, "I hope I don't fail," say, "I am handling this with confidence." Instead of "I shouldn't be lazy," say, "I am building momentum." Your nervous system responds to the tone, the certainty, and the direction of your words. It doesn't care if you feel like a fraud at first. It follows the instructions you provide. Start narrating your life as if you are a champion in the making. This isn't just empty positive thinking. It is precise linguistic programming. By changing your internal narrative, you are setting the new corrected coordinates for your success. Section 10. Your new life. Practical daily steps. We have covered the core concepts today. We talked about how you can stop letting past failures dictate your future, how you can identify the limiting beliefs that hold you back, and how you can consciously change your behavior. From this point on, you don't need complicated theories. You need a simple daily routine. The process of change is not about some grand transformation. It is about small, consistent choices. Start by identifying one situation where you usually react with old negative habits. Instead of reacting automatically, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, is this reaction based on reality or just an old habit I've been repeating? That one question gives you the space to choose a different response. Spend 10 minutes each day objectively, reviewing your actions and planning a better way to handle upcoming challenges. This is not about thinking positively. It is about being honest with yourself and deciding how you want to act. You are the one in control of your daily decisions. You have the power to break those old patterns, one step at a time. The change happens in the mundane moments of your day. It happens when you decide to respond differently to a coworker, when you choose to focus on a task, or when you decide not to let a minor setback ruin your day. Your life is the sum of these small choices. Start today. The person you want to become is built through these consistent daily actions.